Yeah, started.
Good evening, one and all, to the second show of the Tennis Toast. We have a bigger panel for week 2 of this episode and also the Australian Grand Slam. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm happy to introduce you to two new faces. One of them is Kaushik Hakurta from Calcutta. So, Kaushik, who is your favorite all-time tennis player, both male and female?
Monica Seles and Rafael Nadal.
Great. We have another Nadal fan in Tejas. I just have to confirm whether Agniv is also a Nadal fan. So, Agniv, one of the youngest members in the panel, who is your favorite?
Yeah, definitely. Like it's Nadal, and like on the WTA side, since I've not seen it very early on, like 90s, so it's basically Serena because since when I started watching tennis, she was the one who was dominating most of it. At one point, Maria Sharapova kind of came into the highlights, but then she just dwindled on. So it's been Serena for a long time now.
Okay, great. So Suri and I have been outnumbered today in terms of there are more Nadal fans in the house. Okay, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, let's proceed with what is happening down under. So we had a very interesting first 4 rounds of Australian Open so far. And I would request all the panelists to point out their favorite match from the women's draw so far. Tejas, would you like to take the honors first?
Yeah, I was looking forward to, as I told last week, I was looking forward to Osaka's run this Australian Open. She started off pretty well, but I think the lack of match practice got her. So I mean, the match against Anisimova was at a good level, but then she also acknowledged that she wasn't really comfortable with the kind of hitting that Anisimova presented. So overall, it was a great match, good quality, I must say. And to take off Osaka, even when she's not playing all that well, it takes a bit of effort. So I'll give it to Anisimova. I think it took a little bit more out of her, as we saw against Barty today. But overall, I think from the women's side, I preferred that match. That was really good.
Yeah, Amanda Anisimova was one of the giant slayers so far, and she had a good run. As of today, she defeated the 22nd seed Swiss Bencic, and then she defeated Naomi Osaka, but unfortunately, she couldn't do it against my favorite player from Brisbane Heats. That's Ashley Barty. Barty is having a fantastic tournament so far. Minor hiccups. In fact, no hiccups. She had a smooth sailing so far. And moving on to Suri, your favorite player in the women's draw so far.
Oh, the Barty party. The Barty party starting next Saturday. Tune in. So I don't think that's my favorite match so far. I've not really watched the women's draw. I've just been following the results post the matches getting done. But I watched the whole Barty match today. And like I was saying in the last show, she's just at another level. You know, there's a lot of big hitters on the tour. You've got girls who can really serve big, hit big, but just the cerebral level at which she plays. And today, some of the points that she constructed, especially with that backhand slice that she keeps on using, not a lot of women on the tour know how to handle that when the slice comes that low. So it was a pleasure to watch that game. The only other match I watched was the first round between Kerber and Kaya Kanepi, actually, the 36-year-old. She's been playing really well, one of the surprise packages of this tournament. But my favorite match, because I've only watched one really, and my favorite player is Ash Barty, so that I'll go with today's match, Barty versus Anisimova.
Yeah, Kaya Kanepi, mind you, defeated Kerber pretty authoritatively, and she would be meeting the second seed Sabalenka, who for some reason had not a very smooth sailing because she's dropped a set in each of the 3 matches she played so far in the Australian Open.
Yeah.
On that note, yes, Kaushik, tell me about your favorite player, a women's player from Australian Open so far.
Unfortunately, she's bored out today. That is Amanda Anisimova. Because to me, this Amanda Anisimova against Naomi Osaka was the match of the tournament. Because it was the only match in this 2022 where I was living and breathing every point. So to me, it is the best match between this Amanda and this Osaka.
Yes, so 2 people have opted for Amanda and Osaka as their favorite match of the draw so far. Let's move to Agniv. Agniv, which has been your favorite match from the women's draw?
Yeah, so like Suri, I will be mentioning that I do not follow like WTA each and every match wise. So it's mostly like, oh, what's the scores going on. This year, I was like, I'll be following 4 players. It was Osaka, Raducanu, Leila Fernandez, and Ash Barty. In which Emma Raducanu I'm just following because I think she's very overrated. So I just wanted to see that how she loses. I was very happy when she lost. I was like, yeah, that kind of there. But apart from that, I will say that yeah, Naomi Osaka and Amanda Anisimova was one of the good matches which happened. Even the match in which Emma Raducanu went down, she kind of earned a little bit of more respect from my side because that was well fought. Like she lost, but it was better fighting. I was like, okay, now she's learning something. But definitely like the match between Osaka and Anisimova was the one which kind of stood out, went to the very final games. And I was kind of thinking that Osaka will pull it off because she's been so good and mentally most of the time, like when she's on court, not like outside. But had to do it. But yeah, she was not able to. So yeah, kind of surprises. But that's what WTA has kind of become. It's very difficult to follow anyone because they just there's no consistency much. So I kind of miss the consistent forms when you had these rivalries building up. Right now, it's just that every time you have some new champion. I think Barty will win this one if nothing kind of goes wrong.
One of my favorite players from the women draw is an American known as Madison Keys. She has had a good run so far. She has upset 11th seed Sophia Kenin, and then she defeated Wang from China in a 3-setter. And then today she defeated a 8th seed Badosa 6-3, 6-1. So she's having a great run. Unlike her compatriot Cody Goff, who lost to Wang, the Chinese, uh, in straight sets. So Goff was a player we all look forward to, and we were thinking that she would be one of the favorites to win. Sadly, that was not the story. And also, yes, we had to witness the loss of Leila Fernandez in the first round itself. So there were a couple of upsets early in the Australian Open. Let's see what the second week is going to offer us moving forward, and that would be the highlight of the next episode. So moving on, let's move to the men's draw. In the men's draw, we have, okay, I will ask your opinion about your favorite matches during the tournament or your favorite player during the tournament, how he has fared during the tournament. So I will be starting with Agniv. Agniv, so your favorite player, definitely Nadal, and your favorite match of his?
Match, I think the first set today, I was very happy that I did not see it because I would have been dead. Like the whole tiebreaker, I don't know. I saw the highlights and I was like, each and every these kind of points, like the amount of nerve wracking that was taking place. So that first set was just outstanding. I really liked it. Even the third set with the first and the fourth set with Hashanov in the last match was kind of good. But I like see I love Nadal. I know he's a huge time favorite, but I definitely think Medvedev has a better chance at the trophy at this point of time. Like his whole thing is that his draw is completely empty. There's not much. Like I think Sinner is there who can kind of challenge him, but I don't see him doing that. Like he's still very young for that. So but by the time Nadal, even if he gets to the final, the next 2 rounds are going to be too much tiring for him to. I don't think he'll be able to maintain the level in finals, even if he gets there. And Medvedev will be completely fresh. Similar to what happened in US Open with Djokovic, where Medvedev did not have any challenge, so he just cruised through and he was just able to dominate the match. So I think Medvedev is my favorite to win here. But yeah, Rafa has played some good things, especially coming out of the injury season.
Yeah, Medvedev had a clinical performance in all the three matches he has played so far, apart from that one set against my favorite, King Kyrgios. Okay, and then Suri, another Kyrgios fan. Your favorite match of the Australian Open so far?
Again, I work in the afternoon. It's very hard to catch these night session matches. But the one match I was able to catch yesterday, which I really loved, was the Cilic Rublev match. I don't know how many of you watched it. And Rublev's always been this kind of guy who's, he's a top 5. He's a number 5, I think, for this tournament. But he's never really convinced me because, the old adage as it goes, you're only as good as your second serve, and his second serve is not really great. And he's not a big hitting player either. I mean, I know he has a big forehand, but forget Rublev. Cilic absolutely wound back the clock. He was battering the ball yesterday. It was absolute bullets. And that's probably one of my favorite games. I always love to see former Grand Slam champions who are down in the rankings coming back up to win a match. It just feels good, the nostalgia, everything. And I think Cilic did a wonderful job yesterday. So that was my favorite match. And 2 other players I'd like to mention this tournament have been Taylor Fritz. He's playing an amazing tournament. He's into the second week. He faces Tsitsipas. And you know what? I might, hedge my bets on Fritz over there. I know it's a bold call. And the other player is Manarino, not just because of this first set today. He beat Duckworth. Then he got Hubert Hurkacz, who was one of my picks for this tournament to make it far. And then he beat Karatsev. Yeah. And if you observe how Manarino and generally the French guys play, a lot of talent, they come on very casual. I don't know. I mean, of course, everyone puts their mind into the game, but the way they just play, it's like a lot of flair and style. No backlift, just swings the racket and he finishes off the point. Like Manarino is one of those guys, always top 30, doesn't really make it big, but has a really good game. So and these are the 3 players that I've really enjoyed watching this tournament.
Speaking of French players, there's another person in the draw, Gael Monfils. He defeated 16th seed Garin, Christian Garin. So did anyone catch that match? I believe like Monfils was one of my favorites about 5 to 6 years back. I was really looking for a French champion. Gone are the days when French players have dominated the tournament so far, have dominated the Grand Slam so far, but Monfils has always been this exciting player to watch, besides Tsonga, of course. So that was one player that's one player I'm rooting for from France. And with that, moving from France to Italy, we have Sinner as mentioned by Agniv. He's playing well, and we have Berrettini, who's had a pretty normal Grand Slam. This is a guy who loves to play 4-setters, 5-setters, and then be back on court, asking for more sets from his contenders. And yes, Tejas, any favorite player from your from Australian Open so far?
It's been fun watching Rafa. I was fortunate enough to watch all the matches. And because work has been a little down this week, so I could watch most of Rafa's matches. But those are not my favorite matches of the week. I have 2 actually. One for the quality and one for the one which provided me a peek into the future. For quality, I don't think I can go beyond Medvedev versus Kyrgios. That was electric atmosphere. The world was against Medvedev, and he is a nonchalant guy with this boring efficiency. He gets the job done. That's how good Medvedev is. I mean, I started following him since the 2019 season, where it was his breakthrough season. He started winning Masters, and then in the finals against Nadal, after being 2 sets down, he came back and I was so close of a match. I think Medvedev even deserved to win that match. Even being a Rafa fan, I think he played really well. So that is the kind of bowling efficiency that he has built up over the years, and it was on full display against someone like Kyrgios with his extravagant shot making, right? And most of it he was making, and the crowd was really supporting Kyrgios. To be in that moment and to even fight the crowd as well, that was incredible, high quality tennis. I think if Kyrgios had played the same way against any of the player in the draw, I think he would have won that match. But only because of Medvedev's quality and efficiency could get through. I think for the first week, I think I cannot look forward. Look beyond that match as my favorite. But the second match, I think, was a little underrated. It was between Matteo Berrettini and someone
Alcaraz.
called Carlos Alcaraz, right?
That was incredible match. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to mention about him last week. I think he's someone very young, but he has that game on all the surfaces. And he, of course, I love Rafa Nadal, and I see a lot of similarities between them. They both are real fighters, and of course, Carlos does train in dance academies, and so he's someone for the future. And if you guys want to watch, go back and watch that match. 5-setter, brilliant tiebreaker in the 5-set was awesome. I think for something to get a peek into the future, I think that is one match that's probably my second favorite. But on pure quality, it was Medvedev versus Kyrgios.
Okay, and then we had a major upset. The third seed, Alexander Zverev, losing his match in straight sets, actually. So, Kaushik, any views on that match?
Yeah.
I
don't think it is the upset, because to me it was not an upset, because that was expected from Zverev. Though I am not a big fan of both Zverev and Shapovalov, but in every Grand Slams I am watching that Zverev is not moving beyond the quarters and losing in the third round, fourth round very often. So I'm really disappointed with the way Zverev has played.
I think there is a theory for that also. So before, I think 2003, 2004, if you guys used to watch, then all the finals of the Masters used to be best of 5. And they made it best of 3 now. Now, guys who are doing well, of course, the big 3, right? And I think only Medvedev is the exception, where he has come from this the newer generation of Masters and really got adjusted to the Grand Slam best of 5. But I feel at least few Masters should take this call of converting their finals to best of 5. This will really help the newer players to get the feel of a Grand Slam finals, or the business end of the Grand Slams. Yes, Zverev is highly talented, and I am disappointed the way he buckles under pressure when it comes to best of 5. But I think as a sport, if tennis really wants the newer players to come aboard and make a name for themselves in the Grand Slam scene, right? So they have to go back to the best of 5 in the Masters. That's a breeding ground for Grand Slams.
Also, has somebody noticed this kind of pattern? Like if Zverev's serves fall apart, Zverev just loses. Like today, he had 3 aces and he completely lost the whole. But if you see the thing like Olympics, where he was just serving well, he was able to get his game back together and kind of pull it in and won 10 games in a row in the world. So that's what I see. Like if he's not serving well, he's not going to win the match at all.
That's pretty surprising, because he has that kind of a physique, or even like he has this tall frame, and like you expect these guys to be powerful servers, and if you don't have a plan B, then your game falls apart. So that's a little disappointing to watch as a player as a person who admired people with power aces and all that, powerful aces. But moving on, any other match you are looking forward to coming this week? Of course, we have the semi-finals, the quarterfinals, and the finals coming up. So any player in particular you are looking forward to, who can probably delight everyone?
Also, I do think we missed Kaushik's favorite match.
Okay,
Yeah, we kind of.
that is
the same one, that Matteo Berrettini versus Alcaraz. in the third round.
Okay, yeah,
It was
Berrettini,
good, and I am really surprised to see the service game of both the Berrettini and this Alcaraz. I think they have produced 73 aces between them.
okay.
It
Yeah,
was pretty
so
impressive.
okay, so as a person who loves service games, I have to check out on Berrettini, but only provided it doesn't go in 4 setters, 5 setters, because time is precious, guys. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I was upset by one person who didn't make it beyond the second round. That's my favorite player from. Okay, his name is Gregor Dimitrov. So I was actually disappointed to see him as seeded 26th. A few years back, he was there on the top of the rankings and all. So what happened there, Tejas? Can you apprise me about his fallen form?
I think 2017 semi-finals against Nadal was his game to win, or his match to win. He was right there. I think it's just Nadal's resilience that got him through that match. Things would have been things could have been a lot better for him if he had won that match, and his career could have taken off. And we could have seen Federer versus Baby Federer in the finals. And you never know, right? In the finals, you just cannot predict. And he also won, I think, in 2017 or 2018. Correct me if I'm wrong. The World Tour finals as well. So he was here and there till 2019, but I think right from the start up, he's always been inconsistent, no doubt about that. But I think that was the time, 2017, 2018 was the time for him to rise. But as like, I think even I can draw parallel with Milos Raonic as well. He's a similar kind of player who had a lot of potential, made a couple of finals, Grand Slam finals as well. It's just that Grigor, his peak physical level is gone now, and he does not have his consistency to back him up as well. So that's been his problem. I really hope he has a good clay court season coming up. Not his strong suit, but really hope he can come up and win few important matches in this season.
Okay, this question is directed to Suri and Agniv. So could you tell me about why only players from Europe are dominating the men's draw, and not say from America, or means both North America and Southern America? You have just a few Canadians who are in the top draws. Other than that, it's Italians all the way. We have Spanish players, we have Germans, we have Italians, even the East European countries. The players from there are doing pretty well. So what has happened to the rest of the world? Okay, Agniv, yeah, you can.
Yeah. So I think Federer kind of answered it at one point when he was asked that what is the secret to your longevity? Like, how can you play so long when other people cannot? And he said that one of the things which, even if you see the whole COVID kind of scenario, we had the US season which was shortened, but the Europe season kept going on. So mostly, like most of the tournaments, they center around Europe, especially the 250s and 500s. Most of them are like in the same continent, in the same area, very near to each other, which also kind of favors the guys because they get through these. They kind of get the opportunities. They do not have to travel much. So even the new players, they get. For example, there was this guy from Switzerland who was kind of popping up last year. I don't remember his. No. He was a very young guy. I think he's 18 or something. He played one of the finals at some clay court thing, and he started playing really well. He won a few games. But then again, like kind of the guys like these from USA, they take a lot of time to even get the wild card or something like that. For example, for India, I have a few friends who have played like national level India, and they have said that it's impossible to even break through into ATP because you don't have ITFs, you don't have futures, you don't have challengers. So that is the kind of thing that they have so many tournaments going on, so many academies coming up that it kind of favors them. Suri, what's your take?
Yeah, I think you've covered most of it. In fact, I do not know much. I've been seeing this, and mostly based on the techniques. I think, I don't know, the kind of techniques that the American players have, having watched them, it's something that's changed over the years now. If you look at most of the grips and all that the Americans use, very extreme westerns, and it's very physical, their game. And I don't think that cuts it anymore. I mean, people are fitter. I don't mean it that way, but the game itself, wherein the amount of effort that they have to put in just to win a match, I think I can't really answer that because I'm not that deep into it, but something about the coaching methods itself. And also, if you look in the United States, a lot of people are on tennis scholarships as well in universities. And you see a lot of European players actually move. Kevin Anderson was one of them, as the South African who plays at the University of Illinois, actually, at Varna and Champaign. So the advantage of that is, yes, you can pursue an education as well as keep playing, but I don't know how much focus that allows the player to have on just the game. You know, you just have to be in the academy, in the game, without having to do anything else. So I don't know if it's a system issue or what. I'm not really clear on that, but just I think some of the coaching, just some of the techniques that come out of there are just outdated. Like you see how the Roddick's and the Couriers used to play very heavy topspin, you know, inside out forehands, big games and stuff. It doesn't work anymore. A little more variety to the European game than the American game, as far as I see. If you look at even the Americans on the tour.
Yeah, Suri, whenever we speak about, say, the teams, the players outside America, means players outside Europe, we normally look at USA, but there has been means like a rare influx of players, say, from South America. They used to produce great players way back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Even that has stopped. Like, for example, I had a lot of favorite players from Argentina and Coutin from Brazil, but we no longer get to see them. And that's one thing I would like to see forward. So your take?
Yeah, I think, I mean, I don't know about the South American system. They still produce a lot of very good clay courters, but they're all middling level right now. Nobody at that level of Coutin or, you know, even Marcelo Rios, a little older. And then you had I mean, Del Potro was probably the biggest South American player right now, and unfortunately injuries for him. But the rest of them, there's a few on tour. If you watch any challengers and some of those tournaments, you have those two brothers, Cherundolo, who play well on clay, Bagnis, Delbonis, Schwartzman is there and thereabouts, but you know, nobody's that next level kind of player, and they kind of lose out to the Spaniards actually when it comes to clay. So even people like Carreño Busta and Bautista Agut are a cut above all the South American players who typically come from there. So I don't really know a cause, but yeah, you're right. There's not many South American players who are doing that great right now.
Actually, Europeans are doing. Yes, Kaushik.
No, actually, I think they all are clay court specialists. The problem with the South American guys, apart from Del Potro, all other guys are clay court specialists. And nowadays, in Europe, they are having one advantage because you have to play in the clay courts as well as you are having the grass courts, then the AstroTurf and the hard courts. So in Europe, you have that facility. But I don't think in South America, because I have gone through some articles also, they don't have that much facility also there to play in the hard courts or in the grass surface. So I think that is a big issue.
Okay, thanks.
If you want to excel, then
yes, Tejas.
No, also there's a system issue there as well, because American game generally was at its brightest when the courts were a little faster, but traditionally courts have slowed down. Right, even Australian Open for that matter, the courts were pretty quick till 2005, 2006. I think Marat Safin once won in 2004. I think the court were super quick at that point, and also one of the reasons why Federer is still active, because early days he played on faster courts where, because of his skill, he could finish off the match pretty quickly. So, but traditionally over the years, the courts have slowed down, and you see that the fight is at the baseline rather than at the nets these days. So that transition hasn't happened with the US tennis, because they're still a little averse on clay courts. You see that they don't have a masters over there in US with the clay court. It's all European. And if you are not adjusting to the global trend, you'll always see that a generation of players fall back to their compatriots. So it's one of the reasons I feel they should take it on the chin. Things will change. You cannot stick to just one style of game. They should adapt to the newer change that is coming to tennis. And if they do that, I think in 5-6 years we'll see some good players from the States as well.
Thanks, Tejas. Speaking about various countries and their players, let's move to India, where one of its brightest stars has announced that this season would be her last. And I'm talking about the lady from Hyderabad, Sania Mirza, who has enthralled and even inspired many Indians to play the sport. And I will be moving to Suri, since he also hails from the same city as of Sania Mirza, about his favorite Sania Mirza moment on court.
So yeah, and I mean, a great career. First of all, one has to put her career into perspective. We always talk about Indians not making it big in individual sports, tennis being one of them. And if you just look at it, she's probably our biggest player in a long, long time, women or men. I was just talking to my brother, and he said she was probably world number 27 or something in the yeah.
Yes.
And she's beaten people like Kuznetsova. She's my favorite moment. I don't really know. I mean, she's a 6-time doubles Grand Slam champion as well. But my favorite shot when I was growing up, she's 2 years older than I am. So, when I was growing up, it's kind of, same age, you kind of follow people, you're really enthralled by them. Her forehand was a bullet, absolute bullet. And I think she had a 3rd round match against Serena Williams or 2nd round match sometime at the US Open.
Round match.
Second round
Australian
match.
Open.
And Australian Open. I know, of course, Serena won the game, and I was a big Serena fan, but the way that she could hit that forehand and she could hit from the baseline against any player, any big player, that kind of stands out for me. And a very skillful player, actually, which is evidenced by her success in the doubles. So it's a pretty big loss for India. And if you look right now, there's no real women's Indian players that are, I mean, I know people like Ankita Rana and all, but they still can't make it to that level. But Sania Mirza is one of the biggest we've produced.
Yeah, and it's really sad that things like growing up, we had Pace, Bhupati, Sania Mirza, and you had Bopanna also coming in. And sadly, now we don't get to see any Indian players, even in out of ITF and all that. My favorite Sania Mirza moment was definitely when I used to read about all these national tournaments, and I would read it on Sportstar, and she was quite highly praised and all that, and she did justice to her talent, though she did not get as much support from the federation, and of course we have our own limitations, but she has shown that we can always challenge boundaries. Tejas, Kaushik and Agniv, your favorite moments of Sania Mirza?
Yeah, back in 2015, I was
getting married. Yes, sorry.
that was no. Let's not talk about that. I had fortunate enough to watch her in 2015 in IPTL. There was this tournament called IPTL where predominantly I'd gone to watch Nadal versus Federer, I must confess. But over there, the point that Suri made, exactly, she had a bullet forehand. I've seen it live. It was incredible, the kind of speed that she could generate from the baseline on the forehand was certainly one of the moments for me. And there was one more moment, I think she won against Marion Bartoli, I think in 2008 or 2007, sometime around in US Open, 3rd round.
2007.
Yeah. 2007. So she, Marion Bartoli went on to win at Wimbledon as well. So she had that talent to beat someone so good who has done so well at the Grand Slam levels too. So that was also one of the moments, and her whole career has been incredible. I think we should be proud of what she has achieved. 6 Grand Slam titles, being also named as the emerging player of the year in 2007, when we see hundreds of people coming into 2005. Yeah, thanks. So at that, those are all the moments. I think the whole moment, the whole career of her itself has been really memorable, and I hope she wins a few titles this season before she hangs up her boot. Immensely proud of what she has given to Indian tennis. I really wish her all the very best in future.
Yes, Kaushik, over to you. Your favorite
To
one.
me, she is the best she's the best tennis player India has ever produced. Period. Because not only she is having a exceptional good doubles player, won the 43 WTA titles, which is an incredible achievement. 43 WTA titles. Even she has won 2 times WTA year-end championship, one with Cara Black and one with Martina Hingis. And also in her brief singles career, she is having the notable wins over this Svetlana Kuznetsova, Vera Zvonareva, Victoria Azarenka, Marion Bartoli, Dinara Safina. So I think they were the stalwarts player in the WTA. So I'm really very sad that finally she has decided to to stop playing after this year. But I don't think anyone will repeat her achievement in near future. At least in the next 10 years, at least from India.
Surprised that a Calcutta boy has picked Mirza over pace, huh? But anyway.
Yes, Agniv.
Yeah, so I will be honest, like so I started following WTA like around 1 or 2 years ago, and even before that, like doubles I hardly did. So as such, I won't say that I have like such like a huge amount of memory of how she used to play. Like I've seen her play in the doubles game and everything, but honestly, like what I've seen more is the kind of records which she used to keep coming up with each and every time. I also do think that the media did not do her justice, mostly in Indian scenario. Like for let's say a contemporary like Saina Nehwal, who is in a different racket sport, got much more kind of media attention and media push towards badminton rather than it came for tennis. So that's kind of there. But one of the biggest things I still remember is that one time, I think it was 2 years ago, and I always used to think that she was top 100 in WTA. And I just decided to search for it, and I realized that no, at one point she became 27th, and she defeated many of the top players. And that was when I realized that it was such a big sensation. It was never covered, which nobody ever gave credit for, which is kind of, I think, is sad. Like even Leander Pace is some like now mentioned, especially when I think Djokovic did something where he congratulated Leander Pace after one of his matches that you're doing good job. But I don't think Sania Mirza has got her due. I hope that in the last 1 year, people finally come around to start seeing for what she was, and amount of achievement she has. Like because I think a lot of focus was on that single game she could not do as much as she could because she was the juniors champion in Wimbledon, I guess, but she was not able to convert it into the main finals. But I think they should focus on the fact that how much she did for the doubles game, how much she respected internationally, and that is something which I think would be a good send off for a player who has done a lot for Indian tennis scene.
Yes, thanks, Agnev, on that high note, and hope of an exciting year for Sania Mirza and an exciting week for tennis fans. All looking forward to a great week at the Australian Open. We are signing off at the moment. So catch us next week for the report on the finals of the Australian Open. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, ciao.